the perspective, you don't want to be, just if, when someone's assholic, you don't want to be assholic back. It doesn't make a difference. It's just more assholic, but yeah, it is. But we all know what I'm talking about. We've all had that opportunity and that experience of when you're when you're in a meeting or in a conversation. So I always love to ask the clarifying question. So when someone sort of dismisses somebody at the table, I'm not really sure you meant to ignore what was just said, and so giving people the opportunity to say, oh, I was in my head, or even if they didn't really mean it, but it's the notion of calling it out and giving individuals an opportunity to fix it. One of my other favorite phrases, and my colleagues always fall out on the floor when I do this, I pearl clutch and go, forgive me. And part of that is when I'm about to say something, to acknowledge that, like, I'm about to say something that's actually going to be uncomfortable. So forgive me in advance, but I'm going to call this out. And the good news is that I work with a team, that we actually do believe in team, and we've done the work to create sort of the teamwork. But it's really important when you feel like, the other thing too is to check yourself. Is this one of your triggers? We all have triggers. Know yourself. Know what your triggers are. Know when, if somebody, and this may not have nothing to do to your point about gender or race, but it could come from something in your childhood where you don't like when people bang their hand on the table. You take that personally. Or when somebody sort of, does not make eye contact with you when you say something in the room. But know what your triggers are. And in knowing what your triggers are, to your point, you have to disengage your emotions. Because to what you said earlier, this is work. And it's also recognizing that sometimes people, there's a great phrase that talks about, I am you cleverly disguised as me. Meaning that all of us, irrespective of where we come from, what we look like, everybody has a bad day. Everybody's got some family stuff going on. So it's important for us to check ourselves sometimes and to recognize that somebody might actually be having a bad day. Or they may be feeling the pressure that somebody else is about to take their position. And so you may be the target of their upset, and that doesn't dismiss it. But it is having that level of generosity. And I think it goes back to, if you are committed to being a leader in your organization, whether you have the title or you don't have the title, you have to check your own behavior and to empower yourself and others in the room. So if people know that when something crazy happens, that you will step in and step up, and that you have them, they will then support you when it comes your way too. So that's also about building the relationships and the alliances as well.